What is up, gamers? Staxwell's back at it again today with another market watch. I don't want to waste any time at all here. Let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. I feel like cards just keep disappearing. We'll talk about them, and then next week we got to talk about how that same card is just gone. We did it with Command and Conquer, and then I said I think E-Strike maybe is still good, and E-Strike is just gone. So everything's just kind of disappearing. Primarily these old majestic staple foil cards. Cheapest in line strike rainbow foil unlimited on the market is basically $250, and that's not even for like a play set of them. Yeah, cheapest play set. It's gonna cost you $250 each. Pretty crazy stuff. There's also only a few playsets left on the market, period, before the guard is completely disappeared. You have no one to blame but yourself if you missed this. We just talked about it last week when it was like, what, 140, 150, 160, something like that. I do think it's going to come down a little bit from this current price tag. But yeah, it is crazy to see this stuff like, we talk about it all the time, but it's crazy to see it actually disappear, actually happen. Moving on, Blade Flurry, cheapest copy on the market, is $26, seeing some pretty significant movement. Now that we know what those warrior daggers do, kind of understand the play style for the warriors, if you want a little bit more of a deep dive, a deeper explanation on that, check out the podcast that me and Sneep did. We kind of go over it. Basically, assuming you have the fealties to kind of facilitate it, Blade Flurry becomes a 1-card 7 in Fang, which is pretty good numbers. Like, I don't think anything is really competing with that. You don't even need the blue. Just 1-card 7. Pretty strong stuff. And yeah, the price is reflecting that. Again, cheapest copy is $26. Okay, moving on, Marvel Rock, cheapest copy on the market is $85. I'm not 1,000% sure what's going on with it. It is rock and very similar to feet on the Flesh and Blood market. For some reason, people like rock. People like rock, and fab player like rock, fab player like feet. I don't know why. It's never made sense to me, the feet or the rock. So I assume it's just like people just like the card and it was maybe too cheap. Either that or someone knows something we don't. Like, it did get down to like $25, $30 for a bunch of these sales. So I think it's like maybe one or two people specking hard. Or again, someone knows something we don't know. I'm not entirely sure what's going on with this, but it is moving. If you know something I don't, I guess let me know in the comments below. Cheapest copy is $87, pretty crazy. Trench of the Sunken Treasure, cheapest copy on the market is $20. We talked about this on the members only market watch we did a few days ago. So if you're not a member, I definitely recommend becoming a member. Yeah, we kind of called it out when it was like, what was it, like $12 or something? A little bit too cheap. I still do think it is quite cheap. I think it's probably too cheap. Yeah, I definitely do a deeper dive on that video, so go ahead, check that out if you haven't. Beckoning Mistblade, cheapest cold foil on the market for this hand. I don't know if this is like the left or right hand. But the cheapest one is $50, actually insane. So if you have any of these Armory promos, you may be sitting on some money you did not know you have. Moving on, Sizzle. This is the rainbow foil Sizzle, and you get this from sleeves, from the Aurora sleeves, the art Aurora sleeves, like the Dragon Shield ones. So if your locals has any, the card itself is actually worth more than the sleeves. So you'd be making money if you just bought the sleeves and sold the Sizzle. So yeah, kind of a funny like interaction there, a funny like free sleeves. I don't know, like I think it's funny. Anyway, moving on, Concealed Blade also going totally crazy. Cheapest copy on the market is now $21. People weren't really expecting. I mean, we kind of knew that re-equipping daggers would be good this set, but we didn't know all the daggers that exist in the set break themselves. So yeah, Concealed Blade seems like a massive winner, which is good for fans of the channel because yeah, we've been talking about this card since it was like $3. Yeah, pretty crazy stuff. The rainbow foil is also almost completely gone. Cheapest rainbow foil on the market. There's one up here for 35 and then it jumps to 40. Moving on, Emperor. Cheapest Emperor on the market is like $5 for the rainbow foil. The cold foil I don't recommend picking up as it's like $15. Because it's a Blitz hero, as soon as this card LLs, it's going to be pretty worthless. But the Emperor is already a good Blitz hero, and then, with more support that's going to come in the Hunted, with specifically Draconic Warrior cards, and a like a Draconic Dagger, the Emperor is posed to be pretty good, probably almost certainly better than he is now. And like I said, he's already a relatively high tier hero in the Blitz meta, so I imagine it going up as these cards come out and more people start to play them. For only $3, $4, I think it's well worth it. Moving on, Megantic Shockwave, cheapest copy on the market is $3. Because ninjas have so much blade break, and because Syndra seems so reliant on the flick knives, it seems like equipment destruction is going to be quite good. Maybe like Jarl is going to be a little bit better position next meta when things like Enigma are gone, and cards like Megantic Shockwave that could target and destroy these flick knives. Equipment destruction is what I'm getting at, right? Jarl will be able to destroy the flick knives. Megantic Shockwave will be able to destroy the flick knives. I think equipment disruption is going to be pretty good against that hero. And for those who don't know, Megantic Shockwave, like when Dash IE was in meta, this card was like $15 just because it's a Crucible of War Majestic. But yeah, to see it this low, with so much potential on the horizon is quite crazy to me. Moving on, Hold the Line. Cheapest Hold the Line is $7. And that's really just because, the book banning kind of ruined this card and Crown of Provenance. Or Balance of Justice, sorry, not Crown of Provenance. Because so many heroes are not drawing 2 anymore, whereas they used to be. But with the prospect of Tome of Imperial Flame, it kind of seems like everyone's wanting to play Tome of the Imperial Flame. I've yet to see like a compelling reason to play it, but if they do wind up playing it, they're already innately royal, right? So you're able to draw to whatever. I get it, you could do the Flame Scale Furnace and whatnot. It still doesn't really seem worth it to me just based off the cards we have currently, but maybe something gets revealed that could change that. Either way, if people are playing Tome of the Imperial Flame, cards like Hold the Line and Balance of Justice are definitely going to get quite a bit better. So for only $7, I think it's well worth it. Also worth noting that both of these cards are very good into Brutes still, because Brute still has Blood Rush Bellow. Not saying that Brute's like a big player in the current metagame, but even if we're wrong about Tome of the Imperial Flame, having a playset of Hold the Line is going to pay off when Brute meta comes back either way, right? So not a bad investment either way. Embodiment of Lightning, the Cold Foil Embodiment of Lightning, is $200. Pretty crazy stuff. This is a promo off of the prize wall at like Callings and Battle Hardens and whatnot. You play the side events, you get the tickets, turn them in for the cold foils. I always like to bring these up every now and then when they spike like this, just to incentivize people to get out there to the Battle Hardens, to the Callings. You don't have to be a professional player to win some of these tickets from the side events and get yourself some nice bling here. Like, again, cheapest Embodiment of Lightning cold foil is $200. Makes a lot of sense. A lot of people are very big fans of Aurora. I think Aurora is like not even like an S tier deck or anything. There's like at least 3 decks better than it objectively, and then subjectively more decks are better than it. So it's not like the best deck by a long stretch, but it's gotta be the most popular. I feel like everyone loves Aurora. So yeah, to see her cards going crazy, no surprise to me at all. Moving on, Spreading Plague. I've never been like the biggest Spreading Plague fan. It just always was like kind of clunky and just kind of situational. But with the new Arachne that's coming out, and the what are they called? The Agents of Chaos. That's what they're called. All of the Agents of Chaos say like discard an assassin card to give a stealth card +3. So if you have Spreading Plague, it kind of is always a win, right? Because if they don't block and you can't maximize Spreading Plague, that's okay. You can always now just discard it for the Agent of Chaos effect to give the stealth attack +3, whereas before you couldn't. And then what would you do with your Spreading Plague? Maybe you arsenal it, and then what if they just never block for the rest of the game? You're just cooked, right? Especially if they sniff out that you have a Spreading Plague. It could totally ruin your entire game plan. But now with the ability to discard it, I'm actually huge on this card right now. And it's an Outsider's Majestic. We know what happens to Outsider's Majestics when they become good. Concealed Blade, right? So I think Spreading Plague, probably one of the best pickups on the market right now. Cheapest copy on the market is like $5. Curious what the rainbow is. I haven't seen that yet. Rainbows are like $6. So yeah, still pretty cheap. This round's on me, another very cheap one. This was obviously a very big card in like 5 meta and whatnot, and it seems like it's just going to be even better against Syndra. Seems like a very good card. Blue, block 3, go again. Give everything -1. I don't need to tell you why that's going to be very good against Syndra. Also seems very good against all of these daggers from the assassins as well. Just not having to mess around with all that stuff seems pretty good. And that's all I got for you guys today. If you're going to pick up this or anything else we talked about on today's Market Watch, please do so using the TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. That's all I got for you guys today. Later, gamers.